Buckingham Palace is supposed to echo with the rustle of ermine and the hush of tradition. But tonight, it's crackling with shock. A once unthinkable order has leaked from those marble corridors. DNA tests for Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. No polite request, no cozy family chat. An outright demand that threatens to crack the 1,000-year crystal of royal succession. Why? Because whispers that Meghan faked her pregnancies have swollen into a roar the crown can't ignore. Proof? Is missing, the monarchy's very lineage is at stake. Stick around because the fingerprints of this scandal appear everywhere in photos, timelines, and a paper trail that suddenly stops.
I will say that, like a lot of people, I saw the Getty images of the pillow dropping behind the skirt, and I thought at first they could be photoshopped, but Getty Images is very reliable.
For generations, royal crises wore familiar costumes, abdications, divorces, discreet affairs. They were messy, but the bloodline itself stayed sacred. This time, the lightning strikes at that sacred heart. Inside the palace, aides scramble through family trees, while outside, news anchors talk lineage with geneticists instead of historians. Public trust already brittle after Megxit. Netflix, tell-alls, and Prince Harry's memoir now dangles over an abyss. Archie and Lilibet's births aren't ironclad. Every portrait gallery from Westminster Abbey to Windsor suddenly feels less like heritage and more like questionable paperwork. Yet none of this materialized overnight. To trace the fault line, we go back to the moment Meghan's bump, first transfixed and divided the world. But before we rewind, bookmark one chilling fact. A royal demand for DNA hasn't surfaced publicly. In modern history, the palace is never dramatic without cause. Autumn 2018, the Sussexes step onto Sydney's Opera House steps. Meghan's hand drifts over a gently rounded belly. Flashbulbs erupt. Within hours, tabloids headline, "Royal Baby Joy." But social media's microscope zoomed in and found curiosities. One day her silhouette looked petite. Next appearance noticeably fuller. A clip surfaced of Meghan bending to greet a toddler, her bump seeming to fold like fabric. Most shrugged it off. Every pregnancy carries optical illusions. Yet for a minority, the footage birthed a devilish theory. The Duchess wore a prosthetic moon bump. These skeptics scoured every gesture. High heels at 8 months, suspicious. A deep squat in a pencil skirt, impossible. No visible ankle swelling, unbelievable. Maternity experts tried to explain ergonomic slings and individual variability, but the internet had chosen its rabbit hole. The palace, in vintage style, offered no comment. Silence meant to kill gossip ended up feeding it.
So are you saying that he's 2 weeks older? And so I thought maybe that would allow time to wean the baby away from a birth mother if a surrogate was used. It would make sense, but instead of lying to the world, why not just say, we want a baby, we're having a baby, and we're using a surrogate.
Spring 2019, baby. Archie is born allegedly in the early hours of May 6th. Yet instead of the usual Lindo Wing photo call outside St. Mary's Hospital, Meghan and Harry pose 2 days later inside Windsor Castle. No immediate physician statement. No hospital location. No recorded departure in front of cameras. The official birth notice appears at Buckingham Palace but omits medical details. Palace fans defend the couple's right to privacy. Cynics label the gaps staging. A second. Theory blossoms. Surrogacy? Not illegal. Not immoral. But critics argue potentially catastrophic if hidden. Because the 1701 Act of Settlement demands heirs be born of the body of a wedded royal. The internet's detective bureau goes into overdrive zooming ultrasound photos. Matching timeline. Anomalies, tabulating baby shower dates versus expected trimesters. Even the color of Meghan's manicure on different days becomes evidence in sprawling Reddit dossiers. The story cools briefly when the family moves to California until pregnancy rumors spark again. Fast forward to 2020's lockdown. with a planet glued to screens. Search terms spike. Meghan fake bump, Archie surrogate, moon bump company. YouTube videos dissect every public appearance frame by frame. Counter videos emerge, labeling the claims misogynistic and racist. Fact-checkers debunk, yet algorithms reward controversy. In just one quarter, conspiracy keywords climb thousands of %. Mental health advocates beg users to stop. Meghan herself, in a candid podcast, reveals she battled suicidal thoughts not because of palace protocols, but because of endless online hate. The confession sparks sympathy briefly before the conspiracy churn resets. June 2021. Meghan announces she's expecting a gain and social media loads its microscopes for round 2. This time, the proof game intensifies. Live streams track every public bump angle, uploading side-by-side GIFs before press agencies even watermark photos. Then, in the hospital delivery room, Meghan and Harry film a playful dance set to Baby Mama Dance, later posted for Lilibet's birthday. Adoring fans call it joyful. Detractors call it a smoking gun prop moment. The clip gets slowed to 0.25 speed, pixel graded and recirculated in tinfoil hat forums, as evidence her belly never shifts naturally. What would have been a cute family milestone becomes another stanza in the conspiracy anthem, and the chorus is louder, nastier. Global. In 2024, Charles III formally ascends, vowing a slimmed-down monarchy. Translation: fewer HRH plates at Christmas. Suddenly, titles for Archie and Lilibet become more than courtesy, their litmus tests. Palace lawyers drafting passport. Paperwork spot a snag. Issuance requires definitive birth documentation. Normally routine, this time records are. Thin no attending physician signature in the royal archives. No hospital ID codes. The Home Office quietly stalls British passports. For the kids. Word leaks to court gossip columns. And under there our audit begins every press release, medical file, and photo examined. Behind velvet curtains. A pattern emerges. Missing signatures here, off-camera births there. Enough red flags to trigger the palace's nuclear option. Tradition says never explain, never complain. Constitution says protect the bloodline at all costs. Something had to give. Royal archivists compare protocols. Prince William's 3 children each have neon-bright paper trails. Physician statements, Lindo wing photo calls, even midwife interviews. Archie and Lilibet, a polite press bulletin, and private images shot by friends. It's technically nothing. In British law, forces a royal to deliver publicly, but the stark contrast fuels suspicion. Courtiers notify Charles of what's missing, not of what they've found. No hospital logins under Meghan's maiden or married names on the reported dates. No maternity ward privacy waiver. No scaled weight sheet signed with the royal cipher. Could be oversight, could be confidentiality, could be deliberate omission. Charles, facing opinion polls already bruised by economic downturns, sees a risk he cannot gamble. He authorizes a confidential request, DNA verification for the children. In theory, routine. In practice, an earthquake. The leak bursts online with the force of an uncorked geyser. Hashtags #DNA or step aside, #moonbumpgate, #surrogate saga. Within 48 hours, TikTok hosts tens of millions of views of slowed bump footage. One creator overlays stock footage of prosthetic bellies. Another flattens hospital audit rumors into a 3-minute. Royal deception explained explicable that racks up 1 million likes before dawn. Meghan's defenders counter. Social justice influencers label the DNA demand racist, misogynistic, dehumanizing. They point to centuries of royal secrecy about male infidelity. Now, suddenly, the burden of proof falls on a biracial duchess. Debates pivot from biology to bias, but the algorithm loves friction. Engagement charts soar, opinions polaris further. Meanwhile, Prince William reportedly unleashes a private fury. He spent 5 years stabilizing the monarchy's image. One more scandal could derail decades of future planning. Princess Anne, austerity incarnate, is said to call the affair an avoidable disgrace. Charles feels the heat of duty over paternal affection. Aides hand Harry a parchment letter version and a digital copy. Comply with independent DNA sampling for both children, overseen by neutral geneticists. Results sealed for royal eyes. Only, deadline, 30 days. Consequence for refusal. Archie and Lilibet's titles and positions removed. HRH usage revoked. Possible civil law clarification of their national status. Privately, the Sussex camp fumes. They argue trust was shattered long ago. Why believe any palace-run tests won't be twisted? Harry fears a public circus. Meghan despises what she calls intrusive pseudoscience. Their circle weighs options court. Injunctions, public defiance, or cautious acquiescence with ironclad conditions. Outside, commentators call it constitutional chicken. One journalist draws comparisons to the 1936 abdication crisis. Another floats the phrase, a new Diana moment, warning of public sympathy flipping against the palace if it appears to bully. But polls show Britain's split. Many demand clarity. Others view the whole kerfuffle as proof the monarchy is outdated. Path A. Compliance swabs taken, chain of custody cameras rolling. Lab results confirm Harry as the biological father and Meghan as birth mother. Conspiracy forums howl fraud claiming sample switch. The palace issues terse, thanks. Titles remain. But goodwill bleeds after years of rumor. The Sussexes salvage dignity yet endure whispers forever. Harry might re-enter limited royal duties. But Netflix deals and memoir profits will always cast shadows of monetized drama. Path B. Refusal the Sussexes decline. Charles, citing counsel, strips titles. Historians evoke Queen Victoria's ferocity. Toward rebellious heirs, Harry and Meghan doubled down on us branding. Sussex Global, Archie Media, keynote circuits about privacy and injustice. Archie and Lilibet grow up American, free, but forever footnotes in constitutional law journals. The monarchy survives, bruised, leaner, maybe colder. Yet a precedent is set. Doubt alone can dethrone. Either fork reshapes how future royals manage. Pregnancies in a paparazzi-dominated age. Future duchesses may live-stream ultrasounds just to silence rumors. Plus press offices might adopt blockchain-verified birth certificates. Strange, perhaps. But this crisis proves digital doubt can erode centuries-old stone quicker than siege cannons. Beyond protocols, hearts bleed. Harry once called William the brother I love, the brother I have lost. That gulf widens into a chasm. Charles faces an agonizing arithmetic. Father of 2 sons, sovereign of millions. His mother steered through post-war austerity and 90s. Tabloid storms yet. She never had to litigate lineage over TikTok. Courtiers whisper that Charles hopes for one clear truth to end it all. Yet truth, once filtered through public opinion, often emerges distorted. Suppose Archie and Lilibet are excluded. Succession leaps over them to Prince William's children, George, Charlotte. Louis, all straightforward until you realize digital conspiracists won't stop there. If the crown concedes uncertainty, once every branch becomes fair game. Already, fringe channels question Charles's paternity, resurrecting decades-old gossip about Major Hewitt and Princess Diana. The institution's wager. Verification offers finality. The risk. Perpetual. Precedent that biology must be audited publicly whenever trolls demand. History's footnotes burst with paternity whispers. Medieval chroniclers murmured that King John was fathered by a French knight. Richard III faced similar rumors. Yet DNA tools didn't exist to convict or clear. In the 2010s, researchers used skeleton testing to verify Richard III's remains. And even that sparked backlash about disturbing the dead. Now imagine similar scrutiny but on living children, cameras rolling, hashtags trending. The monarchy has always walked a tightrope between mystique and transparency. This test pushes both to extremes. As deadlines tick, late-night shows lampoon palace Game of Thrones drama. Hashtags of support and scorn collide. Brands pivot. Luxury prom companies repost royal baby photos. Conspiracy podcasts sell moon bump-proof merch. In California, Meghan's team moles damage control. A primetime interview. A rockumentary flip. A heartfelt Instagram reel. Meanwhile, Buckingham Palace war rooms draft contingencies, press statements, legal motions, even quiet plans for a no-fuss title revocation. Ceremony somewhere off Camera. Ideally, pollsters ring doorbells from Dundee to Devon. 61% say show the DNA, end the noise. 32% call the demand intrusive. 7% shrug, claiming no faith in monarchy regardless. For Republicans itching to abolish the crown, every percentage point of lost trust is ammunition. For loyalists, proof means preservation. In boardrooms, advertisers nervously gauge sentiment. Royal ties sell tours and tea sets, lest the narrative turns toxic. Imagine a third outcome. DNA confirms parentage, but audit data proves Meghan used a surrogate. Legally, surrogacy can still qualify if parentage is established through adoption orders and royal consent. Ethically, opinions divide. Some hail it as progressive, others scream deception. The monarchy may adapt, perhaps rewriting protocols to welcome IVF and surrogacy openly. Yet first, a bruising reckoning over why transparency wasn't chosen on day one. Behind Montecito gates, the Sussex's way legacy. Harry knows what happens when the palace machine turns its glare inward. He watched it consume his mother. Again, recalls her own words on authenticity. If they comply, they may vindicate their children but feed a system they distrust. They refuse, they shield privacy but risk history branding them as architects of chaos. Either way, the story ends in their hands unless they stall too long and the palace writes the ending for them. Dynasties stand on three pillars: myth, memory, and blood. In the age of viral doubt, myth leaks, memory shifts, and blood demands paperwork. Whether a lab swab restores faith or ignites fury, one truth is certain. The monarchy will never again rely on ceremony alone. And every future royal lullaby may carry an unspoken refrain prove it. So ask yourself, when crowns clash with cotton swabs, which wins the fairy tale or the forensic file? Stay tuned. History is about to spit into a tube.